The Zevo Flying Insect Trap. I'm now 15 days in, literally to the hour when I started recording this, so pretty good timing there. I told you I would come back after 15 days. The instructions said 15 days or as needed, so I thought we would come back and see if this actually worked before I get into this unit though, before I turn this around, and I'll give you a trigger warning before I get to that point. But before I turn this around and take a look, and I did sneak a peek, remember 48 hours in my first review. If you haven't watched that, stop right here, go back and watch that first review. I'll link it down in the description, and then you can come back and pick up here. But in that first review, I looked at this 48 hours later. I took it out 48 hours, I turned it around, and there were 3 little tiny flying insects. So it clearly was trapping things at that point. And I haven't seen any additional flying insects. Now let me say, I keep a very clean, orderly house, but I also live in Alabama. No matter how clean you keep things, if you're coming in and out of door at night, especially if you have lights on inside, something's gonna come in, but usually I don't see flying insects. I see these large mosquito-looking things every now and then. They're called mosquito eaters. I looked it up. So yeah, misplaced hatred there. And every now and then I'll be looking at my windowsill. Usually when I see any flying insect, it's unalived on the windowsill. So I just don't normally see things flying around. I mean, it does happen, but I try to keep a clean, orderly place, not keep anything out that would attract bugs. So usually things here just aren't very buggy. So I didn't know how well something like this was gonna work, but I also recently started adding plants on. I'm 4 plants in right now. You're seeing 3 of them in this footage. And with plants can come gnats and things like that. So I thought I would get ahead of it and order a Zevo or try out this Zevo. So we've seen it at 48 hours. This is the trigger warning part. If you're squeamish to unalived insects, I know there's some back here because I looked 5 days ago and there were about 7 of them in there. So there are a few more. So avert your eyes. Maybe if you're eating or something like that, you might want to come back. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to turn it around and give the reveal. Oh, there is one of those big mosquito things. They're called mosquito eaters, but you can see that. I mean, look, let's see if I can just pull this out. Might make it, that might actually make it harder for me. But yeah, there's an actual mosquito down there in the bottom. The 3 that I originally had, I think were here, here, and one over there. But I'm seeing, there's a little fuzzy bug, just a bunch of little small gnats. I don't know how much of this I'm keeping on camera. I'm trying to look at it as you are. Let me see if I can count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's a little bitty dot there. Looks like 22. And I don't know if I counted that one right there. I don't think I did. I'm seeing at least, oh, there's another one. 24. Hidden down there, 24 little bugs that this caught. And I still have plenty of sticky room, so I don't even have to replace this just yet. Slide it back into place. It goes in that easy. I don't know if I had that on camera. Slides back in that easy. And I can plug this back up and let it keep doing its thing. So wow, this actually works. It catches flying insects, insects that I don't normally see. I see them on my windowsill, like I told you. So wow, it's keeping them away from me and away from my plants. My refrigerator just cut off, so the sound may have changed here. I'm impressed. I don't even need this just yet. I bought this pack of refills. We'll talk about that in just a second. So I'm going to segue here into talking just really quick about my experience with this unit overall. Not just catching bugs, we know it does that now, but my experience with this unit overall. Because I did have some UV concerns. I mean, this is daylight and I have cabinet lighting on here. Let me see if I can turn this off. Yeah, I turned the cabinet lighting off and you can see that blue glow, and I'll patch in my night shot. I mean, this is a blue glow at night. I could put things down all on my kitchen floor and there's no way I would ever step on anything with this on. It just lights up at night so bright that there's no way I need any kind of other light if I just want to creep through. No way you could covertly sneak through a house with this because, I mean, it's a bright blue light, but that's also a blue light and a UV light. And I've always been told, you got to be careful with UV light. I have a UV light on my central unit, and its instructions were basically, I mean, don't look into this, don't expose it to your skin, turn it off before you even pull it out. You don't want to get exposed to this light. So I've always had that level of fear with UV light. So what I did was I reached out to Procter and Gamble. Zevo, and this answers one commenter's question. They said, Zevo, I don't want to invest in something from a company that might not be around. Well, it turns out Zevo is a Procter and Gamble brand. Procter and Gamble, a very large company, so that allays any fears there. Plus, from what I understand, this is eating alive, so to speak, the Raid UV trap. People are converting over to this because they like it so much better. So I think Zevo's gonna be around. So I don't have any concerns about that, no immediate concerns about that. But I contacted Procter and Gamble and I asked them specifically about this UV light. First, I placed a phone call to them. I spoke with a very nice woman. I think it was Amanda that responded in this later email that you're gonna see. But my first question was simply about the UV light. Is it safe? And I was told, because let me just pull this out here again and show you. This is the wall and there is the UV light. There's one on each side. So my kitchen sink is right over there. And if I'm standing at my sink, I can literally look over and look right into that UV light and, you know, try not to look at something when it's standing out there, a pretty blue light standing out there. I mean, if I told you not to look at this, you're gonna look at it. And even if you're trying not to look at it, odds are your eyes are still kind of going back to it right now, right? That's just the way it works. It's human nature. So I didn't want, again, my fears of UV light, I didn't want that. Well, I was told that this light is safe. That was the first wording. The second wording was that you could, oh, by the way, that Amanda, usually when you call a call center, you get someone that has to look up something or they just don't know a lot about it and have to transfer you. She knew everything. I was really impressed. And she said that this light was so safe that you could put your eye 9 inches away from it and look at it for up to 8 hours before there are any concerns. Not very dangerous, hence it being a safe light. But then I started thinking about it even more and I started doing a little research. And I found out that the wavelength that UV light is measured in nanometers, or at least the wavelength measurements are in nanometers. So I emailed them back and asked them if they could provide me any information on that. And they replied with this. Now, I'm not going to read this entire thing to you, but I will say I think there's a slight typo where it says it's negligible below 355 nanometers and above 400 nanometers. This is the UVA spectrum, 320 nanometers to 400 nanometers. So I think what she's saying is that if it's below 355 nanometers and up to 400 nanometers, at least that's the way I read this, because she says this is the UVA spectrum, 320 to 400 nanometers, so it sits in a safe spot. Apparently, there are no worries with this UV light, and in my research I found that you get more exposure walking out and being in the sun. So I guess just like the sun, you know, you could be out in the sun and it's not bothering you, but if you did this for 8 hours, probably get a burn, probably get some sort of damage. Now that's not to say there aren't maybe some little concerns with my cabinet that it's broadcasting up here given time. Is that going to fade? That's still a little unknown. We'll see. I eventually have to repaint this kitchen anyway. Of course, my cabinets, I don't want them yellow, but I don't look up under there often. So we'll find out about that. She did mention that they had redesigned this, that in the early units, now I have a light here and a light here. I've seen here, here, and one on the inside here. I don't know if you could see that. Here, here, and one on the inside here. But she said on the early units, the light was here, and they did have some complaints with it yellowing the receptacle behind it because it was right up against it. Well, mine's already yellow, so at best, it would age to make it match up. said that was why they redesigned it. But anyway, long story short of all that, I'm not worried really about the UV anymore. Now the light, you still have to understand if that's going to work for you or not work for you. But still on this light, it is this blue UV light. You can see with my cabinet lights off, it's brighter and it shows up. And this is daylight. I mean, that's sun that you're seeing coming in. And that's a bright, bright blue light again at night. It glows, brightens up everything. I do have a wonder, these bugs. Another trigger warning here, I'm turning this back around. These bugs, you know, how many of these were in here because they would have been in here versus are in here because they saw a blue light or the UV light, because my kitchen door is about 10 feet to that direction. And I can tell you, I can stand in my door, and I have a big window on that door. I can stand at that door when I'm coming inside and look in, and I can see blue glowing. So how many of those bugs came in just because of this light? I don't know. There's no real way for me to tell. But given that there isn't a super crazy amount in there, that means I'm happy with the amount of bugs. I don't normally see them, but the fact that clearly they're in here and I still don't see them tells me that it's protecting my plants and doing the job that I need. That's my core information for this video. I'm going to wrap this up with the pros and cons. I'm actually going to start with the con. Going back to that UV, does it lure bugs in? You know, I've got to assume that at some point in my window right there, that there are some bugs that are going to see this that wouldn't have came in and are going to come in because this light is here to attract bugs, and that it's so bright and it glows. Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably a valid con. The fading. The UV light still, is this going to fade over time? It's something to consider. It's UV light. This is inches away. I think probably the potential is there for it to fade something. So if you maybe have some ornate wallpaper or something like that, something wouldn't be as easy to replace or easy to repaint as this would be, that would be another con, another potential concern. Ongoing costs. You know, this is a refill. Once this gums up with so much stuff that I know it's not going to easily catch anything else. Again, I have a lot of sticky surface areas still left. Well, that means I'm going to be buying replacements, which I did. I've already shown you this box. I bought these replacements, and these replacements, I bought the 2-pack of refill cartridges because they were out of the 8-pack. But what that means is that this has ongoing costs. Now, it's not much. It's not much. I think this is like $3.49 per cartridge. So let's say $3.50 per cartridge. For me, looks like I'm easily going to get a month out of each cartridge. So $3.50 a month to catch that many bugs that otherwise would just end up dead on my windowsill, or I'm sorry, YouTube, unalived on my windowsill. Yeah, that's a value to me. Is it a value to you? Well, it's something you're going to have to consider, but I'm going to put it under cons because it's an ongoing cost. You're not just paying $19.97 for the unit and that's it. Going to go now to pros because pretty much that's all my cons. I'm going to go to pros, chemical free. That blue light might have, you know, its thing, but this is chemical free, so there's no chemicals, nothing spewing around, nothing I have to worry about touching. I don't have to see the bugs. Yeah, so pros there. No see, no touch, no chemicals, and cheap to operate. I just talked about the cost, ongoing cost is one of the cons, but really, that's pretty cheap. And the more you buy, the cheaper they get. They get down to around $3.20-ish cents, I think, per cartridge. And when I've been looking around online, it seems like a lot of people have to use 2 a month if they have a lot of bugs. Well, 2 a month, when you're getting down to $3.20, $3.25 per cartridge, that's under $7, under $6.50, or maybe at $6.50 a month for flying insect protection. You can't just hire a pest control and get rid of the flying insects so easy. This works. It has its niche market and it's effective at that. So that's all that I know so far about this Zevo Flying Insect Trap. It works. It works. I'm happy with it. Comment below with your thoughts. Are you a Zevo user? What about that one guy that bought the Zevo knockoff off of Amazon? Let me know about that, because it came with about 7 refills, I think, and it was 17 or 18 bucks. Let me know how that's working out. Thanks for watching and have a great day.